back again. One last time. The final episode. The final episode of Disco Elysium. It seems like we've been playing this game forever. It's 18 episodes, I think, is what we're at now. It's like 3 hours a piece. It's a pretty good chunk of time to be playing one game. I got a lot of feelings about Disco Elysium. I've really enjoyed my time with it. I would totally play another one if and when they make a sequel, which I'm really into. I hope they do. Right up top, just like yesterday, I just want to put it out there that, hey, if you're watching this, give some thought to supporting the workers over at Activision Blizzard. From what I understand, it's mostly Blizzard specifically, but sounds like maybe there's a pretty toxic work environment across the board there at Activision. But keeping those workers in mind, specifically the women that work there, because they've been dealing with seems like a pretty heinous work environment. And that's just some bullshit. So, get on Twitter. Let Activision know not happy with it, and I sincerely hope the state of California is going to take them to actual trial instead of just arbitration nonsense, and maybe some of this will finally come out. Be a big deal in the industry if it does. They have been. I know that there's been rumblings of wanting to unionize for quite a while, different parts of the industry. So. Wish them the best. Anyway, on to the game. We are where we left off yesterday. After I got off yesterday, I felt somewhat conflicted about my choices that I made with the mercenaries. And I played it again, and I also did a little reading just to see, like, well, how could this have went? Apparently, that part of the game goes bad no matter what you do. Sure, a couple more people got killed in my playthrough of it than is optimal, but, like, regardless of what you do, 6 people get murdered. Die. Murder's maybe not the right word, but and there's nothing you can do. You will get shot. So I guess there's just no way. I mean, unless I wanted to load up like a really old save and just like dick around for an entire day or something like that, I don't think there's any way I could have completed my political quest, which kind of sucks. But maybe I'll go find a like an older save and see how that all shakes out. I imagine it's probably not that consequential. I mean, they were like a reading group. I do regret not being able to finish it, but it's not worth replaying like a whole big chunk of the game for. So we're just gonna press on. Here we are at the end.
The chain trails off into the ocean, connecting the island to the supply depot on the coast.
Ah, yes, so it seems. For bringing munitions to the island, maybe? And supplies? You could also lock the bay when you raise the chain.
As a defensive measure, lock it off that side of the bay.
From enemies of the commune of Revachol. This sea fort was a revolutionary fortification, I believe. Technically, no, it doesn't.
He's right. The dry grass crackles under your feet as you stop. Far away, birds' wings touch the still surface of the sea. The flock of quail departs, now more than 100 meters away, 102, 105. On the islet, there is almost no wind, just the light movement of air through the reeds. Bulrushes swaying on the waterline, long dried leaves chafing against each other, like a silent orchestra tuning at the beginning of some major work.
Yes?
Momentarily, the sounds are swept away. Pain shoots up your right foot and into your groin.
I have. Is that why we're stopping?
The lieutenant nods in silence. A silent hiss, sea air moving through the needles of a pine tree. The faraway roar of the city, distant like today's dream. Before it, the sound of sand, the low tide filtered through its grains, a bird tending to its feathers. A low hum. The air slowly moves through a concrete box, through its ancient slits and cracks, resonating, hollow. A big building. Air flows out of a pillbox window. There is very little there. The air cossets flowers on a meadow. Absolute silence. Reeds motionless. Bulrushes motionless. A jitter. A sound impatient to happen, but not yet in this world.
Yes?
Momentarily, the sounds are swept away. Pain shoots up your right foot.
It is. Is that why we're stopping?
Oh. Not what I meant to do.
An old cylindrical generator is nested above the ammo lift, with makeshift electrical wiring running out of its side and across the floor. The cables disappear into the wall to your right. The lieutenant puts his hand on the metal barrel, checking for warmth.
It's cold now, but someone has been maintaining it. The wiring has been repaired. Downstairs, somewhere? Liquid carbon. I would imagine it takes mazout. The kind that's favored by vagrants and fuel thieves. It's been a long winter, long and cold.
If anyone stayed here, they'd need a generator. A hollow ring, the canister is empty. Dust falls from the generator and down into the ammo lift.
I don't know. I'm not a philosopher. Someone who has basic electrical skills has restored it in order to keep the room warm. Maybe it's the fire guy.
The wind outside picks up suddenly, with a faint howl. Inside, it's warm. There's a greasy old spring mattress in the corner, resting on piles of soft cover books. White linen and a pillow are visible under a worn-out caracal blanket.
Someone has been squatting here. The linen is fresh. recently washed.
A flash of pain interrupts you, making you wince instead of letting the words out.
You know, officer, you can rest here if you are feeling tired. I will keep watch. You could use some rest for what's ahead. Yes, anytime. If you need a rest later, it's okay by me.
You don't have to be a hero.
Okay, that's getting annoying. Let's... I've got some stuff.
The greasy old.
The offer still stands. Take it.
The bed is quite inviting. Books and magazines lie scattered on the floor and on a makeshift cupboard. They are not particularly well organized. Most are soft covers, serialized fantastique and detective stories from the 20s and 30s. This disparate digest includes the classic Animal Adventures. Popular depictions of man versus nature by amateur naturalists T&T Harpin, husband and wife. Widely read by people from all walks of life. Who doesn't like nature? Among what is mostly commercial fiction and serialized stories, you find a magazine cathodique for electrical engineering. Then it's back to pulp. Light erotica, an international thriller about circuit benders.
Someone's made themselves a home.
Not that you can tell. This is a digest of someone who's dead bored. Most of it is for entertainment purposes, fittingly right next to the radiola on the floor. Maybe it's a little old-fashioned. There's a nude mag. More than that, you can't say. The print in some of these is pretty small, though. This person has good eyesight. Soft covers, serialized fantastique.
It's so weird that it would be giving me items still. Like in money, I'm never gonna use it.
Green paint flecks off the monoblock aluminium cabinet. There are rows of switches on the front panel, a frequency band, and even a keyboard.
The console of an antique computation device. The generator upstairs, with wires coming out. They terminate here. Urgence, ouvert, allumé, radiodiffusé. Sounds like this device was used to control the electronics here. Maybe it still does.
This device was used to control the electronics in the room. It could open doors, control lights, function as a radio computer. The dial slides under the glass, silently. You make out defunct stations on the UKV frequency. The words, Feld Insula.
Insular. This is an off-air radio computer, I believe, used for military communications.
It's an air-gapped system, an off-air military model. Its circuits are nearly impossible to bend, i.e., it cannot be remote controlled. Nothing happens. You see a small metal door nested inside a larger one, a heavy steel blast door. There is a conventional keyhole above the handle. It's very small.
Another part of the island, probably. The lock looks like it could still be usable. Maybe this is one of the doors we don't open?
He's right. It would be better to open its big brother. A powerful engine hangs under the ceiling. It must control the blast door.
Alright, I retract my statement. It was naive. Let's look around and get it open.
I've got neighbors moving. If you hear banging or noises, I've got neighbors moving in next door, and it sounds like they're trying to open my back door.
There's a rain-soaked mattress on a concrete slab, only half covered by the crumbling roof. At the head of it, double embrasures, firing slits like two eyes in the wall.
B triple prime. This looks like a good place to shoot from.
A single-person mattress, modern, civilian use. Brand name, Marjorie. There's a fuel stain on the cover, along with cigarette burns. And an empty can of beans on the ground next to it, filled to the brim with cigarette butts. The silhouette of a tobacco picker adorns the paper filter, the brand Tio Moteri.
I may have been wrong when I said it wasn't important. This means the same person could have visited both locations. I didn't see any signs of smoking inside though. If people live there, they keep it tidy. This here may also be a smoking spot.
There's a firing slit in the wall in front of you, like a little window. Quite old and grimy from years without cleaning by anything other than the rain. The springs screech as you lean on the mattress and crane your neck to look out. A small piece of Martinez coastline opens up in the square in front of you, like a tiny landscape painting. 1 kilometer across the water, the ruins look familiar. A towering skyscraper, its top floors shaved off by artillery fire. Capeside apartments. Rue de Saint-Ghislain, 33A and 33B. The red chimney and collapsed back of the 4-story tenement in front of the whirling in rags. Rue de Saint-Ghislain, 10. The doomed commercial area. the box-shaped silhouette of the whirling in rags. You see a small fleck of white on the rooftop, the upstairs window of Clausia's room, in the snow, reflecting light.
What does that mean? Do you have line of sight to the window?
More than that,
A pair of binoculars? Or a scope of a rifle? You'd be prone, lying on a mattress, barrel resting on the embrasure.
cheek against a cheek rest, hand on the hair trigger, on a calm day like this.
1 second. I keep hearing noise at the back door. I'm just gonna make sure nobody's out there. Hold on 1 moment. Sorry about that. Yeah, just neighbors moving in. Probably putting up pictures on the wall or something. It just sounded like somebody was... I keep looking over here because the back door of my place is like... Well, it's like directly that way from the camera. And, I can see the doorknob from here, and it sounded like somebody was like jiggling the doorknob. So, sorry about that. Let's get back to the game.
Good. I think we have it, Detective. The origin of the shot. This is the sniper's nest.
Affirmative.
In our defense, nothing pointed here. Many leads pointed elsewhere.
He looks north, over the fortification, then at the mattress.
Where?
He does not answer, just nods. With his back hunched, he looks around once more and says,
We should move now.
Been a very cool game. Foghorn.
This old cylindrical generator waits with its fuel cap open. Soft covers, serialized fantastic.
Conceptualization. Never been my strong suit. Oh my armor is still. I thought it might have been broken. Okay. One last thing. We're not wearing anything that actively hurts this, right? No.
Soft covers, serialized fantastique, and detective stories. Animal. Oh yes, under the bed, there is a rather extensive collection of critical theory, that is, dour, life non-affirming left-wing literature, published by small imprints such as Abattoir Firm and Ouzia. It's not exactly like reading.
Ouzia. I agree. Humanitarian sciences. It stands out. Not a lot of critical theory around in Ravachol West.
Your incendiary remark has failed to provoke him. Wasn't there some in the communist student's room?
Well, yes. That one student did.
The little books seem inconsequential next to the big pile of frivolous entertainment covering them.
Again, I am not a philosopher, but whoever has lived here, they have some education and a certain set of interests.
Interesting.
What the hell are you doing over there? It sounds like somebody is taking a Dremel to my wall. Convenient
This
timing.
old cylindrical generator waits. The lieutenant assists you, holding the canister up to the fuel tank. There's a red starter switch on the side of the cylinder and a start rope on the other side. The lieutenant flicks the switch. The recoil start wakes the old generator up. The machine sputters like an old warhorse before settling down to a rattle.
That should do it.
A dim
It's on. Turn.
automatic boot.
I think, yes. Let's see. That one. The emergency open.
The blast door opens with a series of clicks. A shaft of light appears, then widens as the light shines in.
That is a slow animation.
After you. Don't worry. I have a gun. I know. It was not easy to acquire.
Still have both bullets too.
Yes?
Hmm. Remember dinging.
An old man wearing tracksuit trousers leans on the frame stock of his rifle. He gathers a big ball of spit in his mouth, then spits it out into the extinguished fire before him. He raises his black eyes, hooded by creased eyelids, to meet yours. Unclouded by cataracts, his eyesight is sharp.
My eyesight? Yes. Helps me see all the shit. It's not nice. It's a piece of shit. But it gets the job done. It's a 3-Angong 446.
Southeast Samaran made. Exotic. Must be defunct too. No modern rifle manufacturer of that name springs to mind.
A Samaran rifle. How did you get hold of one?
It was sent to us by our brothers in the Sinyao commune. Military aid.
It has stayed true to him. He can still make it sing.
You heard me. It's good now, like chalk, white from the ball. I did. And you opened it. How? I should have burned that console down. The boat engine. On the water. The what now? I can't hear you. I may have. All sorts of little rats have come sniffing around, trying to give up the position. Fire guy. Regressive bourgeoisie henchman. Can't even talk like a grown-up. Yes, I bet you've killed a lot of people with it. You fascist fuck. Have you come to make me one of them?
We have come to ask you questions, nothing more. If you do not comply, we will take you in. Do you understand?
Another spitball lands in the ashes. That's all the answer he gives. The lieutenant pulls his pistol from the holster.
You are a glorified night watchman. This is a service rifle. I can only lay it down before an enemy commander of corresponding rank.
His elbows rest on the frame stock, calmly for now. But he may still get it in his hands. Looks like he knows the weapon.
Gotta spend those points.
The
No point in
words,
keeping-
I am an enemy commander, sound cold as iron from your lungs. The old man still hugs his gun.
And what rank would that be? Top. A big wheel of the 4th Regiment of the Pederast Army. To hell with it. It's a walking stick anyway. It's out of bullets.
He stares on, his wrinkled mouth moving without a sound. A strange sadness, like a song.
The future teaches you to be alone.
The present.
The present to be afraid and cold.
His gaze follows your motions. The rifle feels surprisingly light in your hand. Frame stocked and patched in places with tape and wire. Still warm from his parched hands. Not the metal. The metal is ice cold. This weapon has been modified several times. The rifle's in a shabby state, like a crutch that's seen too much travel. Hieroglyphs are embossed into the forearm, made of walnut. On the butt, you see Vespertine writing, burned into the wood. Triangon, 4.46mm, made in Sinyao.
The right type and the right calibre. No one said it has to be a Belmagrave. We were just guessing.
From ballistics, it could easily have been a Triangon, too.
It doesn't matter if it was made in Shanti Shanti. All it has to do is use jacketed ammunition. And it does. I wonder how old it is.
The old man does not answer. He just stares in front of him. The old man keeps following your motion with his gaze. His right arm twitches suddenly. Some kind of involuntary response. Something is slightly off with his motorics. This looked very much like the murder weapon. It could be used against him to get a confession. In time.
Gotta love people driving down the street.
Real music. It's La Revacholière, you shit-licking bougie dog. Chanson de soldat of the black and whites.
You need to address that remark.
The job of a bougie dog. It is the anthem of the world revolution. One of 3. In Grad, they sang Brave Children, favorites of history. And in Sinyao, it was some Samaran shit, I guess. Everyone has. They named a fucking perfume after it. Talk to her. God's shithouse. Should have taken it down like they did in Grad. Dismantled it for firewood.
That's freaking me out, that sound.
How did it go? Something about shooting rabbits. I don't know. I can't remember. It doesn't matter. It's gone now.
God, I apologize. I can see that's picking that up on the mic. 1 second. Had to pick this time of all. They haven't been doing work on that place all, I think, I actually don't think that's somebody moving in. I think that's the landlord repairing the apartment next to us or something.
He waves erratically with his hand, annoyed that he can't remember. A little tremor passes through him.
My name is Josef Lilianovich Dross, Political Commissar of the 114th Anti-Aircraft Division of the 4th Army of the Commune of Revachol. I am a deserter, a partisan, and a prisoner of war. This is my termless surrender.
The commune of Revachol? Do you mean the ICM? You're a holdover from the...
From the Insulindian Citizens Militia, the army of the revolution. I was recruited in Jamrock in '07, trained in the École de Contrôle Orient, and consigned to emergency defense duties in '08. I left my unit on the eve of the landing. When I returned here on May 14th, the commune had fallen. Still armed and ideologically trained, I wrote a criticism of myself and resumed partisan duties.
51 minus 8 equals 43.
No. I've been on other islands, too. I was an Resurrection until they turned it into a spa in 18. Then I was an E-48, a nameless sound, until the sea washed over it. Then I came back here. That was 22 years ago. No, I am not a soldier. I am an ideological officer. I belong to the party, not the army. Trained in historical materialism, then assigned as a political commissar by the party. These things used to mean something.
He nods slowly, then another tremor.
No, you're not. You're a liberast. All the real communists are dead. They died fighting for communism. Are you dead? No. You're an inert lump with a gun.
Detective, we have not come here to discuss ideology. We have come to ask questions regarding a murder investigation.
The old man spits into the fire pit. He does not say anything more. A jitter passes his lower body. There's definitely something off with his body. Something more than just metabolism.
43 years and 10 months. It's not how a human being should live. But I had to. I couldn't just forget. I couldn't just forget what I saw.
What have you been doing during all this time?
Hiding, fishing, waiting. Always waiting. Always for her to return.
Her who?
Girl child. Revolution. No. The material base for an uprising has eroded. The working class has betrayed mankind and themselves. The historic opportunity for a revolution has passed. It will not come back anymore, however hard I try, whatever I do.
So that's why he's the deserter.
I have done everything a man can do. What have you done?
We keep people alive. We help them survive, whatever the ideological situation, day in and day out.
Survive? For what? I was just 16 years old, 15 when I volunteered. I had a lapse of faith. And of courage, too. You could say I misunderstood the historic role of the proletariat and thought Mazovian socioeconomics were fallible. For a second, I doubted the irreducible laws of historic materialism. A second is all it took for reaction to take hold.
He does not seemingly react to what you said. Only his right brow moves a little. He does not believe a police officer is genuinely revolutionary.
And this was when?
May the 13th, 08, 44 years ago. The horizon was black with coalition airships. Their petroleum rose to the sky, and it looked like it formed the clouds, storm clouds. When they started shelling, it was dark magic, the combined might of international capital. All at once, all the greed and terror in the world tore into Revachol. It lifted streets from the ground and turned houses into ghosts. We were in the flak tower, huddled on the floor. The artillery was 80 kilometers away in Ozon, but I knew the commune would fall. We would all be turned into ash. So I said I was going to the map room.
A terrible shame still within him. The lobes of his ears are red with it. The shame and smallness of what he became.
Nah. I climbed the chain link across the water and hid inland, in the bunkers there, like the weakest of the weak. A mouse, frightened at the ordnance all night, and the sound of the rotors in the morning, whirring. Airships. I climbed out into hell. The landing was complete. The chain was submerged. I had to swim back. The fortress was half submerged too, shattered. They'd all drowned in the lower levels, or got torn to shreds above. The anti-aircraft gun had malfunctioned. So had I. I left them without ideological direction. It was real. I'd seen it. I'd seen it in reality. The mask of humanity fall from capital. It has to take it off to kill everyone, everything you love. All the hope and tenderness in the world. It has to take it off just for 1 second to do the deed. And then you see it, as it strangles and beats your friends to death. The sweetest, most courageous people in the world. You see the fear and power in its eyes. Then you know that the bourgeois are not human. I had to fight it. I had to never stop. It's not an island, Dwat. It's a defensive fortification of the commune of Revachol. And I am its last surviving defender. The congenitally deformed King Philip II built it to restrict access to the Bay of Revachol. We captured it in '02, retrofitted the fort with an AA gun to defend against an airborne landing. Against the whole world. Coalition military called it Operation Deathblow. I later found out on the radio they called it Deathblow. You're one of them. Tell me, who speaks like that? We had 50 million people on Caillou alone. don't know. You haven't seen it. Iblis. The black-eyed angel.
Shaitan Ahura, the Darkened One.
How does anyone survive? I steal supplies, vegetables, and collect rainwater. It's the life of a dog, not a human being.
How is your health, Mr. Dross?
I've been throwing up blood since winter. Red, like beetroot. Been passing it in stool, too.
He does seem frail, gaunt for his age. More like 75 than 65. Trouble putting on weight could mean cancer.
The RCM can provide medical services. You need to be looked over.
I need to die. You don't have medical facilities. You have guns. That's all they give you. Toy guns.
We also have Druamine.
I have been running out of that stuff. There's nothing to look over. The triage is in, and it's black. Administer morphine. Moribund. I haven't. I have holes in my brain. Years missing. Others filled with pain only. A decade of... I don't even know what. Inferno?
I would imagine it gets tremendously difficult, mentally, to live in isolation.
Traitors. It's better alone. I watch the people of this city turn the lights back on, more and more each year. Ruins, glimmering in the dark, like a fucking merry-go-round. It's disgusting. It was hard in the Thames. I didn't have partisan training. They were searching for stragglers, those bloodhounds. Floodlights on the water at night.
There were posters, campaigns.
We communards still hoped, and they needed to snuff that hope out. The East capitulated. Martinez and Cold City were turned to dust. But Jamrock, Forburg, even Coron, and Boogie Street, of course. Those fucking kips had Marsov coursing through their veins. And others too. Some cordons of Revachol was still fighting. There were cells. I tried to contact them. Soon they all went silent. The frequencies dead. At night, I used a dinghy. I only went after dark then. When I got to the city, I stayed underground. Patrols, you lot, the commons too. They'd started snitching.
In the city, you move underground?
From bunker to bunker. Not anymore. No one cares now. I don't even have to hide. They think I'm another antisocial vagrant. I could walk straight into that town if I wanted. I just... So you finally found it. There must have been a small squadron's worth of arms in there. Belmer graves, right? Useless now. Rusted away.
So you've been there?
Sleeping. Some nights. Ammo scrounging on others. Those McGraves were shit, even before they corroded. Some had bullets in the chamber, however.
You feel the dots connecting. Little dots on the map he's walked across.
The propaganda bunker. I used to, but not anymore.
Propaganda bunker?
They stored leaflets there. Broadcasting equipment, too. Made broadcasts, I think. Propaganda officers. I buried them with their leaflets. They killed themselves. 2 young boys. A lot of our boys did. I spent some winters there. Never liked it. kept thinking of them. No need to go underground anymore. It's better in the ruins, on the ground. I don't want to. They're all traitors. Pigs, rabbits, and dogs. Men without ideals are only animals. I do. They're good. Plenty of tar. I like that boy on the pack, too. Reminds me of the last century.
The old man looks across the water, at the city, the ruins, the motorways rising above it.
You're with the RCM. The coalition-appointed mob that enforces bourgeois morals in Revachol. A so-called Lieutenant W. Freighter. Let's. You represent the Moralist International, the enemies of humanity who took this city. I represent their adversary, le Parti Communiste dans le Monde. Take me to them as a prisoner of war. I have relinquished my weapon. I can no longer serve. No superiors can relieve me of my duty. You bulldoze them all to a mass grave for trying to free humanity.
A spray of blood from his mouth on the black charcoal in the fire pit. Rene, the royalist on the coast, said,
Only the army. Liberal reactionaries signed it for them. Traitors who should have been burned alive. I am a political commissar of the Communist Party, and the party never surrendered.
Is that part of why you've been here all this time? Because the party didn't surrender?
He just wipes the blood from his chin.
Honor is a feudal atavism. My motive is class. There's nothing serious in this world. It's a farce. I've used it for killing people.
Killing people?
It's a gun. That's what they're for. You want a moralist euphemism? Defending your family and your property. I haven't done that. I've used it to kill people.
Interesting. During or after the war?
There is no after the war. Class war is never over.
So he's continued killing after hostilities ended. Okay. This is it. You can feel it, like battery acid on the tip of your tongue. Something you haven't felt in a while. But this is what you live for. This is the shit. The great serotonin jackpot. The solution. Go in straight. No euphemisms. He doesn't like those. No. Be careful now. Slow and steady does it. Make him repeat it first. Nothing comes to you. Silence. His black eyes look at you.
What did I just say?
What did I just tell you? Don't drop the ball now.
The who now?
He heard you. He just wants to hear you say it. You're in.
Oh yes. That one. Ugly piece of work, that boy.
Did you kill him?
I am a son of a welder and an officer of the commune of Revachol. I do not collaborate with murderers and pederasts of the liberal regime.
A drop of blood in the saliva. Exhaust him with proof. Pile it all on him. Get a confession. The gun. The murder weapon is the perfect opener. The scent of blood in the air. But what else? There was something you can't remember. Something about the tracks. Suddenly, all those tracks are so confusing. Go with something else first.
Not a lot of guns around that use military-grade ammunition, are there?
It's a real gun. Not like your little musketeer pistol. I've seen you prance around with that. Jumping hoops for the Liberals. You look like imbeciles. Why don't you ask them to give you real weapons? Going against automatic rifles with these toy guns. Of course you got those boys killed.
He would have a good view of the tribunal from here. It's not just empty boasting. So he saw you. Okay. So what? Don't let it divert you.
You know what? You're right. I'm convinced this made the shot. Should we call it? Good. This feels good, doesn't it? Tearing things up like this. When you have the murder weapon, you have the killer.
Murder. I saw you poking around there, looking for evidence. You're damn diligent when it comes to dead fascies. Did you like the view?
You had direct visibility. There are embrasures in the concrete, specifically meant for a top follower to use. And you had a long-range rifle in your possession. You've been here a long time, Mr. Dross. Too long. You clearly need medical aid.
I'm ready to die. I've done my part.
He's practically admitting to it. Dead fascists for fascists. Done his part.
Because it's a sniper's nest, you stupid fuck. Radio Gosh is right. You have worms in your brain.
Wait, here it comes. The goddamn Maybells. The dried Maybells on Clausia's roof. There were Maybells in the grass when you got here. They're revolutionary symbols from the war. Nowhere else, nowhere in all of Martinez have you seen them this spring. Wait, don't forget the footprints. The diagonal prints in the dust in the secret space behind Clausia's bedroom. Now they're gonna come up. You got it. Remember? The boot prints were like no modern soul. Maybe don't beat yourself anymore, though. You're not immortal.
Damn Maybells. The whole island is turning white with them. So many this year, too. The spring is coming. No, it's already here. Wash the filth away. They blossom on the islets before we fertilize them with our blood. Resurrection was snow white in May, before they ruined it. The coast, too, before they piled their containers on top of it, filled with broken, useless trash for fat-fingered bourgeois children to play with.
You must get around a lot to stay undetected all these years. Do you know any secret paths? Pinball workshops?
I may. Clausia.
He knows her, but hadn't heard the name.
My ears don't reach the city. With the victim.
There is a small tremble. Looks like a smile. A crooked smile. Yet isn't quite voluntary. He's about to burst. Don't leave any loose ends. Get him on everything.
Everything is brands with you individualists. Who cares what brand my shoes are? Sansa? Some shit.
Show me the souls, please, Mr. Dross.
Fucking imbecile.
The maker is Sensorique. The model is Cordobe, and the size is 43. These are not the unusual horizontal patterned soles you saw in the dust on the floor of the hidden room. They do, however, seem to be about the same size.
The size fits, but not the soul.
Simpler? No. This is another loose thread you will never connect. The lieutenant raises his brow. What are you doing? He's thinking. We almost got him here. Not now. Stop yourself.
People change shoes, Detective. It was you. You were there, weren't you? Crawling and whirling in rags. What were you doing? Some kind of reconnaissance? Preparing the scene? Listening in on her?
Trying to rack your brains. You're desperate to report something back to your masters. They must have really loved that dead fuck.
The old man stares at his own prints in the ash around the fire. Silence suddenly, some strange process within him. A gush of wind. Seagulls in the distance.
You know who he was. A coalition-trained murderer. Armored and armed. He wasn't human. The blunt end of a hammer. Dripping with blood. Beating us to the ground. Moaning with joy. You hounds get so thorough when a company-trained killer dies. I haven't seen you on this coast for 40 years. You know, maybe I should have killed one sooner. Got your attention. Now you stop beating druggies and prostitutes in your basement. Now you come to investigate. Not when they die by the hundreds.
This is it. Shot him. Shot him. Say shot him, not killed him.
Oh, the inhumanity. One paramilitary less in Revachol.
The lieutenant raises his right arm to hush you. Hush. He does not need to be pushed anymore. The ball is rolling, while the lieutenant listens, holding his breath.
I had them in my sights, both of them, him and the whore. I was breathing with them, in phase, and I pulled the trigger and flew on the air until I landed in his mouth. I didn't think I had a shot like that in me anymore. I did. I saw him kneel there with his mouth full of death, and that stupid look on his face. And his dick still in her. Nothing. I went to sleep. Next morning there were Maybells everywhere. The world was white. Or what's left of it anyway. My last spring here. I knew the fascists would come to avenge their own. And so they did.
Mr. Dross, are you aware you're confessing to murder?
Yes.
And you were looking at Dan, the victim and a young woman, having sex, through the scope of your rifle that night, before you shot him?
The old man nods.
Why?
Because that's what they were doing.
The motive. This is where the motive is going to come from.
I don't understand. Do you, detective? I don't understand this part.
I'm always looking.
Are you always looking through the scope of a rifle? I'm just trying to understand.
A rifle scope has the best magnification.
And if you don't like it?
Click.
Yes. Think of it as a form of critique.
He will not stop now. These dialectical materialist types never do. Exploit it. You got him going. Connect every little piece now. Wrap this up like a gift.
Them fucking. I didn't like that. Jealousy is a reactionary concept. I didn't like the Reaver enjoying himself, drugged out, soothed in the arms of a young woman. I wanted him to die so he could not enjoy life anymore. And I wanted to see his head explode. That too. She should know better than to hold a child murderer between her thighs. I knew he'd be there for one more second. Writhing. That's all it takes for the bullet to reach his head. Now that I think of it, I wasn't aiming for his mouth. I wanted his brains to spill out on her. But you can't have everything.
This man has seen past her, like you did. The caliber of bullet he used does not do that kind of damage.
Since she came to Martinez, I saw her sneaking in the reeds early in the morning, behind the Fell building. It was dark, still winter. She didn't have her skimpy outfit on then, just a spot in the night, moving.
Past the Fell building on the coast? What was she doing there?
Hiding something in the water. She had a fag after she'd done it. I was up in the ruins there. She couldn't see me, but I could see her, smoking. She was nervous, but not scared.
And beautiful.
Her passport and tickets to Villiers. And from there to Cachet Brut.
In the free state of Semonine, hidden away at the edge of the earth, near the Pale.
Yes, after she'd gone. It was a submersible. Well made, actually.
Sloppy. We should have gotten her to tell us about this. Did you take the documents?
No, I put them back. Why would I take them? I'm not going to phone. Oh, I mean... I did. She had a face like an archipelago, with those birthmarks. And a body, hard and lean and bruised all over. Black and yellow. I could see she's taken a beating. I could see who she was, too. A spook. On the run. Revachol's the cloaca of capital now. All the bagmen and arms dealers end up here to do drugs and have sex like animals.
You could tell she was a spook from the documents?
She had different color hair on the photo, and glasses. Forged. Some sordid bourgeois affair.
Hello.
I've heard about this kind of thing on the radio.
The bruises. You can't make that out in a scope.
You can't see bruises through a scope. It's just a blur.
It quickly comes to you.
Oh, yes. Cutting those drugs of hers into little lines with a knife. Masturbating.
Everything in him fills with impossible longing, all at once.
Did you make that hole?
With a clip point knife.
Good for listening in, too. For hearing the moaning and the snorts.
Like that, too. Yes. Bending like a bow against the glass. I've been through all of Martinez. Every nook and cranny. Yes, that too. The things they did in that little room. What she'd do to feel good. Funny the way light works.
Well, we have found the killer.
You turn it on inside, and it gets so dark out, you can't see a man looking in. I learned that in the 20s, when they were still hunting me. I've seen people do some shit, but...
Those two took the cake. You hear the familiar scribble of the lieutenant's pen. A quick glance at you. One more loose end down. We're doing this, detective.
How did you get in there? The hidden pinball workshop.
I can just walk in there now after a good wash. I told you, they think I'm an antisocial. Closing hour is a good time. The kitchen's empty.
You had to open the steel door in the kitchen? How?
Yeah, I gathered as much just from poking around.
I got that open a long time ago. Some bourgeois game merchant lived there. I don't know, 15 years ago. He left spare keys all over, and I took one. Then I saw her turn the light on one night in my scope.
Andy found use for it. A spare key, like the one hanging behind the Union Box window.
There's nothing to hold on to. Only this. It's not enough.
The coals of his eyes glisten suddenly, like stones dripping with
yeah.
water. Is he crying?
Man needs to feel something else. In this fight, it helps if you have your eye.
Yeah, it's definitely
on
thematically
something
appropriate.
there. It's weakness, I know. No. I don't really know. I was there one night and she was crying, like a child, in the corner of her room on the floor, like she does sometimes, the day after I killed him. Yes, I don't know why I do the things I do anymore.
Neither does he. He lowers his head, like a sunflower on a withered stalk. In the silence, the lieutenant draws a line in his notes, then nods at you once more. One more down.
Her.
The lieutenant nods at you in acknowledgement. That's it. Motive. We have it.
Where is she, that Clasier? I haven't seen her there for days. Gone. I knew it. She kept staring into the scope this last week, at the island, like she knew. She'd look, at night, crying or smoking on the roof, staring right into me. It doesn't matter.
He knew she knows. She was looking at the island, figuring it out, day by day.
We could get more. We've got him talking.
Who knows what he's seen and done over the years?
A tragic comedy. Druggies, prostitutes, and rentiers.
A strange little engine seems to fire up in him again. It straightens his back. The familiar put of hatred.
Specifically, the whole city is a charnel house, stripped clean and draped in neon. But Martinez is the worst. Because of the racists. Everyone is a racist in Martinez. It's their favorite thing to do in the whole world. Listening to race-themed radio shows. In the ruins, in their lorries, pumped full of steroids and Radio Revachol 92. Race this, race that. It's all sanctioned by that social democratic union and the farce of a social democrat who runs it. Yes, the fly larva in his container. He let some nihilistic advertising yuppies erect a statue of Philippe III, a syphilitic murderer, on the town square, to spit on the working class. Not since the serfs of ancient Pericarnassus has history produced a more inert social class than the Martinez proletariat. The rest of Revachol at least pretends to rebuild. These people still live in ruins. In tents, like animals. Like those boom morons on the ice. A pity they didn't drown in that tent of theirs. The worst of them is the blood-drenched Sucrion on her yacht, licking her lips. The old whore's gone now. Her gun-toting porcelain men are dead. So, actually, no. The worst is that old cock parading around in his uniform, throwing balls all day. It's not enough that the racists and liberals are dancing on our graves. The old loyalist ghouls still parade the ruins too. Every morning he's there, while the parasites he fought to protect are off in Ozon, or Koyamoran, or some other island they built their palaces on, feeding on drugs and having sex with their own children. That's all the rich really want. Sex with their own children. Throughout history, even the royal bloodline of the suzerain, it's all just an excuse for them to have sordid sex. At least that old cunt, Frisell, is now dead. We did good when we pushed him under the horse car. Until, in the 30s, those disco whores.
There was something about a statue and nihilistic advertising agency people might be worth investigating.
Syphilis is a disease Philippe III contracted in a whorehouse. The statue is an abomination. The bacteria entered his brain and made him squander trillions on sparkling wine,
I remember hearing about that.
cocainum, and monuments of himself. His son, Philip IV, the insane, contracted syphilis in the womb.
That is technically possible, although Philippe III was not actually syphilitic.
Oh
He
yeah,
was just mad.
they told me that was.
And he
just a
still
myth.
went on to govern Revachol for 25 years. We lost 2 million lives toppling that mode of government. And those grotesque statues too. Hundreds of them. What a keen remark. Yes, it is, isn't it? It's still there. Do you know why? I do. Some advertising cockroaches use their accumulated capital to erect a new, ironic version of it.
Yeah, I remember.
We tore it down with honest, working-class plastic explosives. But there it is again, grinning. Art is a bourgeois establishment. It's an affront to humanity. Every gallery should be bulldozed, and the artists should all be given 30 years of hard labor in Yekokata. Whores. Another hideous disappointment. Unions are the real enemy. The true enemy of the proletariat. Placating the masses.
Disappointment, so personal. He displays a familiarity with the union's top brass.
That deformed toad? I wouldn't expect him to wipe his own ass. I mean, The brains of the operation. The smart one.
Edgar.
Oh yeah, we never did meet Edgar.
He talks a big game about uprising and social base. They must have sent the smart one to some university in Le Jardin, where it's alienation this and hegemony that. First against the wall with him.
The Clares wouldn't miss a man hidden in their own backyard. Not all this time. Nothing happens in Martinez without them knowing.
Of course. Maybe the Clears asked him to.
Oh, that would make sense, actually. Because who benefited from all of this?
I haven't approached anyone. I hid. It was Edgar who came to me.
How did he know you were here?
He didn't just stumble in like an oaf. He figured it out. Some kids told him about a monster on the island. I told you, he has brains. Stepped right off the boat and walked down where you came. I even kept the door open for him. Thought he was a man of the left. Wouldn't rat me out. I was right about one of those things. 20 years ago. Neither of them could walk now, could they? They were less fat then.
That's around the time the Clears came to power.
Edgar did the talking. Paid his respects like I were a fossil in a uniform. Offered platitudes about the struggle. Flaunted his pink degree. Even quoted Marzoff. Never trust a social democrat who quotes Marzoff. Oh, and charity, too. They love their charity. Offered me blankets and social housing. I still have the gas cooker he brought. Let me be here. The ZOC is an unlawful successor of the Commune of Revachol. We took this fortification from the Loyalists. Even the Clares understand this.
They let him be here. Understanding was a courtesy. But why such a courtesy?
You know why I killed that fucker, Dwat. As to Edgar, I'm not doing anything for that swine again.
Again? What have you done for Edgar before?
Tried teaching him some Marzovian socioeconomics. They didn't stick. We parted ways.
Okay, he didn't do the hanged man for them, but he's insinuating something.
Yeah, I remember when the... Man, I'm...
The connection comes to you like a splash of cold water. Dark, cold water.
Hey.
He acknowledges it. Here we go. A twist behind the dark bend.
That bourgeois cow. Tiffin Holly was her name. Licked the rich man's hand every time he came to town. Never seen a labor leader so hot on mutual cooperation. And money. She liked that too. That Holly was a real bridge builder and a deal maker. Called in, they say, on the eve of battle. Ran away. Vanished like a piss stain.
No, that's not quite it, is it?
Did she? They say her daughter called in, not her personally. But that wasn't really her daughter, was it?
No, I guess it was not. She couldn't make the call herself.
Here it is, the bend in the river.
Because she was dead? Because the cow caught a bullet in her right lung. Fell into the canal, grasping her tit and drowned. Or bled. Hard to say. It was a sloppy job. on a moving target. She was going home, waddling, dressed in yellow, drunk like she often was. The ruins were black around her, and she had a yellow leather bag under her arm. She tried to cross the canal, heading home to Grand Couronne or Betancourt, someplace like that, where they build those new bâtiments for the people who flourish in the hell around her and the ruins. Someone shot her, or maybe the cow just fell. My memory is full of holes. All I know is nothing changed. Not in the material base, not in the hegemony. There was no uprising. Just words. The Union fizzled, sogged. Nothing came of it. Nothing.
Edgar didn't keep his part of the deal.
Yeah, that's what he's getting at, is that he made a deal with Edgar Everard and shot the old Union leader.
If you were to testify to this, give the RCM something on Edgar, you could walk. We would strike everything you've done and process you as a POW. You were in a war. You were on assignment. We could even extradite you to the Samaran People's Republic.
A degenerate worker state. Goat shit. No, thank you. I'm Revacholian. My days are short. I will rot away here, in a moral intern cell. I will not testify to anything. I saw it happen, and I liked it. That's all I have to say. I didn't live and fight for 40 years to end up as a collaborationist. I've heard it on Channel 8, 40 AM, Radio Revachol. Like everyone is a blobber in this world. Everyone betrays everyone. They're all already locked up for betrayal. The best ones, the ones with heart, were slaughtered, trampled.
There is plenty here to work with once he's in custody, and the lieutenant knows it. He gives you a little nod to proceed.
Every fucking morning for 34 years. Throwing that ball.
Poor Renee.
One ball against the other. I've always loathed that game. That is not a working class game. I don't care what they say on Radio June. Royalist ghouls played like it was life itself. Click, clack across the water each day. And that uniform, like a parrot plumage. I won't even mention that he's a traitor to his race. A Patank maniac race traitor. I remember him. I remember him from La Noce. Not him, personally. His make and model. There were tens of thousands of them. I thought we took them all out before the liberals came to their rescue. We missed one. That one.
There doesn't seem to be a single person under the pine today. Not even Gaston. Alone.
Fat and plump. Like a pheasant. Just begging to be popped off. Please, Mr. Dross. Shoot me. Not yet. I like to look at him strut around. Place the crosshair on his medals. Right on his face. And just fiddle the trigger. Think about it. Let the bonbon melt in my mouth.
Save the treat for later?
He is a juicy bonbon, that one. A real treat for the black day. The blackest. When I put that gun in my own mouth, I think, no, don't waste it. Put this lead in that cock, Renee. For the boys he killed. And then I look at him throw those balls, and I suddenly feel better. I even hid one bullet, so I'd always have one for him. Haven't seen him around lately, strutting around. Must be down with arthritis. I hope it hurts like hell. I hope he sweats blood. No. I waited too long. I waited too long, and now he's dead?
I'm sorry, Mr. Dross. I understand you knew him for a long time.
They're all dead now. Fuck it.
I'm sorry he died of old age and you didn't get a chance to murder him.
If he really wanted to kill him so bad, he would have done. There must have been 1,000 black days on these islands. His health ailing.
All human beings care about each other. I cared for seeing his head explode. Now, God damn this one. And I blew them all. What does it matter now? He's gone. Ancient dust. You think I haven't seen people die? It's all I've seen them do. Fuck and die. All the other plans we had. To love. To colonize the Pale. It's all fucked.
He's not okay. This is just another black day in a row of black days. Something strange is keeping him together, making him endure.
Glad we talked about what?
Let's see if I can get my composure up. I've got 3 skill points out of this. Might as well. Well, and it's like when I asked him about communism, and he was saying that it was done for, and it prompted me like, well, yeah, that's why he was a deserter. He's always been that way.
What strikes you about this gaunt man is not the stomach pain, or the cough, or the malnutrition. For a man who's spent 44 years hidden in the urban wild. Indeed, he speaks fluidly. His movements are rapid, if erratic. His voice, despite the cough, is there. It is capable of expressing complicated ideas. Above all, he seems animated. It's a mystery. This animation comes at a cost too. Erratic hand gestures, thought processes cut off like threads, as he just stares at the logs or the reeds. He also suffers mood swings, bubbling to the surface, unconstrained by his nervous system.
Yeah, well, that's what I mean. Like, when I pointed out that I was a communist, he just like brushed it off. Like, well, it's done for. It's never coming back. And it's like, well, yeah, that's like that whole way of looking at the world is like him in a nutshell, kind of.
You've seen demented people before. This feels similar, yet different. When his thoughts move, they are lucid, keen even. Not senile. Is it some kind of substance damage? Like he's addicted to something? Not only the painkillers he's clearly on.
No. I won't be stuffed full of shit like the rest of this city.
You said you take painkillers.
I take them to cope with pain. The people of this city use painkillers because they have pain. Untreated illnesses. Not enough money for a greedy doctor.
He is indeed very lucid at times. It's not a downer, rather an upper, judging by his snaps.
Like some kind of decadent rock star. No, I'm not okay. I shit blood, and I'm surrounded by insane people.
There it is again. Erratic hand motions, bouts of rage, and the stomach thing too, of course. Could it be a symptom of overdosing on something? Something even you have not tried? Keep your eyes peeled. His lip curls into a sneer.
Glad we talked about what? What? But you said I would be taken to the...
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
Your Wayfarer rights have been suspended. Information provided to the officers on the scene will be used against you by the prosecution. You will be given legal counsel within 1 week and must face court in 44 days. Do you understand? Do you understand?
But... No, I don't want to. I have to stay here.
He's sweating. Beads are forming on his forehead. Pupils are dilated too. Eyes getting blacker and blacker.
Your confirmation is not required, sir. Now on to the boat.
Perception. Why not? Spend them. Not like I'm gonna...
There it is again. To your north, as it has been since you came to the coast. The reeds whisper, stalks rubbing against each other. But then, in the middle of it, something completely different. It sounds like a bow, very slowly being drawn against the strings of a violin. A very small violin, made of reeds and rushes.
Maybe there is room for 3 on the boat. What?
What are you talking about? Is this... really us?
A delicate tangle of arms and legs unfolds from the reeds, limb by limb, to then just stand there, moving its scythe-like arms in ghostly silence.
It's the cryptid. Yeah.
It's
Blink?
still there, an unfolding mechanism of reed-like chitin, hovering in place.
What are you talking about? There's nothing there.
The stick insect is over 3 meters tall. It looks straight at you with its tiny pinprick eyes and its grotesquely small head.
Tell me what you see, damn it. I can't make out one small thing in the reeds.
I can see it.
4
Okay,
simple
he can see it.
words.
That's good.
Thank God. If you can see, then you're not insane. But that means it's really there, spinning slowly, in absolute silence. Its limbs long and slender.
This is like the moment when the creepy Spider-Man comes out of the ceiling at the church. It was just like, what the fuck?
Be very, very careful.
Okay. Yeah, I've got to save this. Man, I kind of wish I didn't spend all those points down.
The creature stands on long stilt-like legs, antennae hanging from its head like a woman's hair, white and curled at the tips. It is no more than 5 steps away from you. Reed-like tufts stick out of its joints. As the insect moves its forearms, it produces a faint hiss, like a reel-to-reel machine spinning after the tape breaks. The hiss is different from the strings you heard before. It says something else in a lower pitch. Slowly, with your breath held, you take 2 small steps toward the phasmid. The creature lets out a series of ultrasonic clicks that swarm around your head like swallows. Sweat drips from your brow, soaking your chest. You reek of it, your chemicals. The tracheal system on the creature's abdomen expands in front of you to take in and expel air. It's smelling you. Hissing and clicking, it extends its mandible-like antennae to greet you. You're right below it now, looking up at the colossal chitin of its white limbs. The head of the creature is crowned by reeds, and its eyes are like small droplets of water.
Maybe it is real, the pheromone.
About now, he is ready to believe in anything. The insect's head is crowned with reed-like scales, the shape of seed heads. They rustle as the air moves. The ventricles at its abdomen continue expanding, breathing you in, your sour, greasy semiochemicals on the breeze. No reply. A total ancient silence comes from its mouth, along with what appears to be some kind of foam. The stridulations of its limbs continue all around you. You were right. Little bubbles form on the mouth parts of the creature, on its segmented lower lip. It looks to be foaming, slowly. The foam is white, then yellowish. The faintest smell like you've never felt before, like burnt roses.
Careful. It may be poisonous.
The foam slowly turns a darker shade, like burnt caramel, as the insect moves its mouth parts, masticating. The little bubbles begin to burst, one by one, letting out that same smell, like summer burning. The insect stops its stridulation, seeming to observe you. Below its crown of reeds, little pinprick
I gotta
eyes
ask him to take
detect
a photo.
motion, glittering. The world stands still around you. Suddenly, there is silence. As you do, the invertebrate comes to life, its limbs moving independent of each other, as if each has a mind of its own. They are white, like stalks of porcelain, knitting above you, praying to you. The reed creature does not stop its stridulations. It towers above you, parting the reeds it emerged from. Tuft-like structures still rustle on its joints. Nothing. Its simple eyes give off no flicker of light. No one is home. The twitches of its limbs are insect-like, unknowable, perhaps without substance even. It's spread too thin among its limbs, performing incomprehensible operations on the world. And you, looking at it, mouth slightly open. You cannot even imagine what it thinks. Suddenly, another flash of pain, worse than the one before. The taste of blood in your mouth. The insect tastes it too, twitching suddenly.
Okay.
I mean, I thought I did. I went and checked all the traps and told the guy about it.
There is no change in the insect's motion while it's being aimed by the camera. It remains fixated on you.
In 3. If it moves, you jump back. I'll shoot. Here we go. 3, 2, 1.
The shrill flash of the camera
Whoa.
cuts the air like the
cool.
blade of a sword. The phasmid freezes in its bright light. Head turned toward the lieutenant, hypnotized by the flash. It stands frozen before you.
I got it.
The limb before you is incredibly light, like eggshell.
Yeah, it's
It's
pretty
much
cool.
lighter than a reed. You feel a soft push could tip the creature over. Its hollow exoskeleton collapsing. Warning! A sudden shiver passes the limb. Looks like the creature is awakening. Wave by wave from its stupor, some sort of countdown process is happening. That's all you have time to think. Another shudder pulses through the creature's limbs. It jolts back to life, like a record continuing where it left off, in a swaying, praying motion. Even the small black pearls of its eyes do not stray from you. As you back off, the phasmid also takes a step back into the reeds. Something tells you the next time you engage and disengage, it will probably flee. The arthropod follows you with its antennae. As you back off, the cracks and hisses of the tape that's come to its end grow more distant.
that was interesting.
What is it? What do you want from me? I can't go.
Something is very wrong with him now. Nothing. Nothing is what he tried to say.
I mean, I do, but the check is gonna still be locked because I don't have a stat point. Okay, what would it even be? It's Inland Empire. I mean, unless it unlocks it automatically. I've never exactly been clear on how those work. I know they unlock if you have a stat point, but Inland Empire. My tie. Oh, that's even better. I think that is all I have. Yeah, that is the only thing I've got that helps with Inland Empire. Take that off, though. Go ahead and give it a save.
Hissing and clicking, the arthropod extends its mandible-like antennae to greet you again. You're right below it, looking up at the colossal chitin of its white limbs. Its small eyes look at nothing in particular. Nothing.
Okay, I am going to save scum this one, because I want to know. And it's a 72% check, so... I've actually avoided save scumming a lot in this game. I think I've only done it, like, maybe 2 or 3 times.
Hissing and clicking, the
I exist. Tell me what it's like for you. Fire? Where? I do not have fire inside me. In me, there is not even blood, but lymph, like sap from a wine palm. Now, I will tell you what it's like for me. For me, it is a series of half-lit images, a kind of darkness, being intruded upon, transient, dim, moist. Shapes of plants and animals, and internal sensations. A swarm of sounds, tiny vibrations on the inside of my forearms. All speak of complexities totally beyond my understanding. I am at the end of a narrow funnel, weightless, so light, it only feels like something to be me. In truth, perhaps I'm nothing. I certainly do not have a soul, and if I did, it would never burn. Are you sure? Sometimes, when molting, I will grow a lost limb. One time something went wrong, and a small leg replaced a missing antenna. Yes, the leg tried to move around independently, making it hard to walk. Yes, thankfully someone ate it. The next time I molded, I couldn't attend that again. So am I. I was born to detect sucrose rewards and semiochemicals. What were you born to detect? He's in a bad state, deteriorating fast now. He thinks I am beneficial to him, but I am not. I only quicken his deterioration, very slowly, and only because he won't go away. It is meant to keep them from noticing me, to interfere with the picture in your head. But he has looked at me for too long, and I am destroying him. No, you're awake. I am real. Light is forming me. This is real. Not even the birds know that. Not even a water lily. You can also eat it. If it's a leaf, you can put it in your mouth. Yum yum. Or read.
This bug is quite pleasant.
Wait, so
Yes, they don't mind. Yes, I once cloned myself and ate the little ones. It was winter, and I woke up at the wrong time. It was an accident. I am an unknown species of the order Phantasmadia, endemic to the Insulandian Insula. For the last 350 years, I have hidden in plain sight, masquerading as the reeds, molding, cloning myself, unfolding at night to play with trash bins and boys. No, no one believed I exist. Almost no one. Until you came, detective, dripping of blood that smells like strawberries, across the calm sea, the first in 1,000 years. I have stayed hidden through 4 forms of government and 2 scientific revolutions until I was accidentally discovered by a detective of the citizen militia in Rebelshaw, district of Martinez, March 51. No, you are. The moral of our encounter is, I am a relatively medium life form, while it is you who are a total extreme madness. A volatile simian nerve system ominously new to the planet. The Pale too came with you. No one remembers it before you. The Nidarians do not. The radially symmetrics do not. There is an almost unanimous agreement between the birds and the plants that you are going to destroy us all. It is a nervous shadow cast into the world by you, eating away at reality. A great, unnatural territory. Its advent coincides with the arrival of the human mind. You are a violent and irrepressible miracle. The vacuum of cosmos and the stars burning in it are afraid of you. Give me enough time, you will wipe us all out and replace us with nothing. Just by accident. We suspect it will be something like the oxygen holocaust that wiped out anaerobic life 2.6 billion years ago, when organisms first started breathing. Only much worse.
instead of air, you exhale thoughts. There are no trees that eat thoughts.
Everything your eyes touch goes back there, behind the nose mirror. What if you blink? Are we still here? Please don't blink. What if you misplace us all one day, or just forget? No, you're only thinking it now. This is a revelation. Please be. Or one day, one of you will close your eyes and sigh, and open them to see that none of this ever existed.
it doesn't look like that, no. You're just staring at it. Okay. Is it somehow related to the case? I think you should back away from the unstudied species now.
No, there is one more. Thank you. I also have one more thing to say to you. That woman. Turn from the ruin. Turn and go forward. Do it for the working class. She was middle class. It doesn't take a 3-meter stick insect to tell you that.
That's funny. That's a really funny.
As you're turning away, the phasmid mirrors your movements, stepping on the water, the long limbs carrying its feather weight without breaking its surface.
I don't know what I expected from the ending of this game, but it certainly wasn't that. That was rather satisfying.
Just like that, it's gone, skating away across the sea's calm mirror like a skipping stone, leaving nothing but circles on the water. And something under it, in the place it stood, bobbing there, among the reeds, a collection of items.
It's gone. Looks like a nest of some sort. We should have a look. Apparently, yes, like a water strider. Only, I've never seen anything like that in my life.
What now?
Our suspect is not looking so good. We need to check on him.
Oh, nice. It's funny that they gave you that this piece of equipment like right at the end. Interesting. Well, if this is the end of the game, I'm gonna go out like I...
What is it? What do you want from me? I can't go. See.
Mr. Dross?
The man does not respond. He keeps staring, black eyes glazed over and bulging from their sockets, his gap-toothed mouth shaking like an addict of some terrible substance. A light shiver passes him, followed by nothing. His hands are trembling, and he breathes slowly.
He's going into some kind of psychomotor immobility. The good news is, this solves our transportation problem, doesn't it, Mr. Dross?
The trembling mouth appears to sigh.
Between this and the broken tire he's used for a boat, I think it's safe to leave him here, while we go and get help. It will need to be medical first, I'm afraid.
He stares into the reeds. Your words don't stir anything in him. Perhaps you should.
I lost.
He turns his eyes to the reeds again, as he's done so many times. Beige and white stripes.
He lost the scope. Then it somehow made its way over there, with the help of a magpie phasmid. This sight is a T9, Mr. Dross. Was it attached to the rifle when you made the shot?
Silence. Not even a sigh. Nothing. Just dull staring. Not even rage left, wherever he is.
If Kuno kicked it into the sea, as he said he did, Diab would put it back here. This makes sense. Mr. Dross could have picked it up. Or the phasmid even. If it did, this is incredible.
The plastic cape flaps around his face in a gust of wind. His back is slouched and his mouth open. The blacks of his eyes are receding. His pupils are returning to normal.
Old age and shock. Yes, the arrest and the appearance of the phasmid, the combined stress. But you think it's something more than that, don't you?
Quite a few things about that health check you did on him make sense now.
That could be part of the shock. But you're right, something is off here. Mr. Dross.
No response.
Then how did we see it? Oh, you mean, whatever does this, does it over time? Teenagers, kids, drunks, sightings are brief, and hence not credible. But anyone who spends a long time with it. Mr. Dross, have you ever seen a stick insect pretending to be the reeds? The doctors will have to look at this. I hope your station has better medical personnel than 57. He was energetic and articulate. After all these years alone, with little hygiene or medication, I would expect worse. It does not seem to be animated now it's left. Honestly, I'm ready to believe anything at this point. Maybe it is psychoactive. I mean, why not? It's 3 meters tall. Like a drug? His pupils appear to be dilated. They still are. You mean pheromonal? The scope, knowing of her bruises, his disposition toward Miss Oranje? I see what you mean. You should be more careful, detective. Are you sure it wasn't having an effect on you? A valid hunch. Long-term exposure to something like that could be neurodegenerative. Also, please be careful when approaching unknown species in the future, detective. He did seem distressed when it finally came to arresting him, like he didn't want to leave this place, and the insect maybe. I have absolutely forgotten to take notes. I hope I remember all of this.
One time he forgets to take
This will
notes.
be one hell of a report. Thank God we have the photo. We should think about getting back to the mainland. To get help. He'll be safe here, if we don't take too long.
Alright. I'm honestly kind of surprised that there's more. Wait, how did I get here? Oh, there it was. Yeah, I'm definitely gonna have to think about that ending for a little while.
ICM? This feels familiar somehow.
No, an upside-down star.
With its horns in the sky, the symbol of the commune.
Yeah, he explained what it was.
The skiff is swaying on the waves by the dock.
I've heard that's good. I never played the first one.
Let's. We are done here.
The skiff rocks gently under your weight as you get in. The ride back is uneventful and quiet. But for the sound of conversation on the water, there is someone inland waiting for you. 2 men and a woman stand on the concrete square of a nameless village, looking at a small yellow boat as it draws closer. The sea is calm. You reach the jetty and climb out of the skiff.
Yeah, I didn't think you did. I've only, my point was I've only heard it's good. I have no experience with the series. At least
Look
two
what the
assholes.
tide brought in. I want to call you a teapot, but I'm honestly kind of impressed. No idea where you got all that gear, but there's no doubt in my mind that some bad people are looking for it. Also, you look like a fucking idiot.
Whatever this is, it is completely unimportant compared to what you've just seen. This is the man with sunglasses from the Whirling in Rags. But where are his sunglasses?
That's right. And you're some kind of murder machine. Oh, really? They don't seem bothered by it? That's because you're a cop in an exoskeleton. Yes, that has always explained it.
This is not the first time he's seen you all decked out in Weka.
Vic, calm down.
Hello, I'm Trent Heilerstein. I believe we've met on several occasions.
Oh, the dude by the...
I'm your goddamn partner, Jean-Vic Quemar, and this is your special task force. Or what's left of it. Special Consultant Trond Heidelstam, Patrol Officer Judith Minot.
Hi.
We've come to scrape what's left of you off the pavement.
Lieutenant Kim Kisuragi, Prison 57. We've just come from the island, where our investigation led us.
The scene is making even him feel as though he has to justify your actions.
We might need your help with something later.
As if he recalled that he's in fact a decorated police lieutenant and not a naughty boy.
But this is clearly a departmental matter, so I'm going to leave you to discuss it among yourselves.
It's good to meet you, Lieutenant Kitsuhagi.
Letting the lieutenant know he shouldn't feel embarrassed over the shitstorm that's about to befall you.
Ari, we want to help you. Trent, I believe this is where you come in?
I don't quite know what I'm doing here. I was asked to participate as an expert. I think I need to manage your expectations a little. I'm at best an enthusiast in cognitive science. My background is in something else entirely. I engage in neurology on a merely theoretical level. In fact, I should probably get going.
No, Trant, it's too late. You're part of this shit now. What have you got to say for yourself, shit kid?
What does he have to say for himself? He left you to catch the bullets. Shit, kid. What an interesting moniker.
God damn it, Harry. You told us to fuck off. You said we are cramping your style. You're detective god. Fuck everything. All will burn. Detect or die. Are you sure? So you haven't been telling everyone what a boring cop you are? And that you should kill yourself? People say you've been out of your mind. I asked around. Yeah, Major Crimes Unit, under Lieutenant Dubois and Vicomar. Ring any bells? Refresh your memory? It's a goddamn Major Crimes Unit. There's you, me, Jude, Trent fucking Heidelstam, and Guillaume Bevy.
I'm technically just a civilian advisor.
Fuck you. You're part of this shit show. Oh, that's an interesting story, actually. Guillaume Bevy is a police reporter who joined our team. He was really good.
Yeah.
Then he left, because he lost faith in your ability to lead the unit. Other people have left too. Good, smart people. People we won't get back. Only me and this really patient patrol officer are still here. And Trent, because I'm forcing him to stay.
Is this Guillaume Bevy blonde and partial to sunglasses?
See? There! He's getting it. I was impersonating him. Look at me, I'm G-Baby. It was going to be funny. But then, you really did have brain damage. So, not so much anymore. Do? It's a major crimes unit. We clear the desk of cases so Precinct 41 doesn't look like the worst station in town. We're shit here now, Harry. Because of you.
The 41st isn't...
You. Shit kid, that's you.
Maybe you've deserved it.
The cafeteria manager you fucked over told us where you went. Strange. He didn't mention that. In fact, the establishment didn't look saved at all. There was a giant aerograffito in front of the building. It was on fire. I don't know. It had shit kid written all over it. Guilty as charged. I heard you lost your mind and your memory. I wanted to see if it was true. And it was. Good work, Harry. You're insane now. There's one less person for me and everyone else to rely on.
He was too sarcastic for you to realize who he was.
I'm clinically depressed, Harry. Sorry if I wasn't in the mood to butter you up after you told us to fuck off. Did you? Or did you literally not recognize my face? We've been partners for how long, Harry? Don't answer that. You don't remember.
Absolutely no idea. 100 years?
Yes, I'm Tran Heilerstein. I never said I wasn't Tran Heilerstein. Mikhail? Mikhail's my son. No problem. Again, I was asked to share my take on some of the more fringe academic theories developed in Königstein in the 30s. For example, partial psychotraumatic amnesia, group personality theory.
He's here to see if you're insane. He's smart. Let's move on. The bells aren't ringing because you have brain damage. Trant, this is where you come in. How bad is it?
Well, he doesn't have visible tremors, he talks without slurring, he can drive a boat, he's standing, reasoning. All good signs, but complete retrograde amnesia, episodic and semantic.
Meaning, you forgot both who you are and the definitions of money, Isola, pound, and so on.
As displayed in the station call, our interactions with him, and I don't want to be a snitch, but also mine with him before when Harry did not seem to know who I was. It's all very interesting.
Interesting?
Yes, interesting. I have my theories, but I would like to hear Harry's thoughts first. Harry, what do you think happened to you? Neurologically, psychologically, and why not socioeconomically?
Wait, so she...
Not when you phrase it like that. But I don't think critical theory... I know everyone thinks this is far-fetched pink academia, but still, I don't think it should be off the table here.
What? He lost his memory because of capitalism?
No, not like that. I'm not talking for Hedefort's school here. But Harry, I asked you, what do you think happened?
He is. He's getting better. And I can confirm that he drank a lot of alcohol prior to it happening.
I believe he drank. People do that, especially this one. What they don't do is forget their whole life because of drinking.
But Detective Vigmer, he has blanked out before. Yes, a couple of times. After some of the more serious benders. One was after the two drunks case. The other when we looked into that mural.
The two cases in your ledger, the unsolvable case and the New World mural, those were recent.
Interesting. So at first he dipped his toes into it, prepared. That's where he would have gotten the idea, yes. Practice. And then he used alcohol to get there, so to speak.
What do you mean?
Well, Here is my theory. What if this is an absolutely normal reaction to the world we're living in? What
God
if this
damn,
is
that's
not
dark.
a significant anomaly at all? Something to be explained, approached as a defect. Look at the sensory input here. Look at the ruins, the neon. Listen to the radio, the multitudes, the people. Live here for 40 years. As a police detective, he's like a magnetic reader on the world tape, to borrow a known metaphor. Harry's been pushed flat against it. Total input. Hardwired to the free market. He just needed for it to end.
Okay, Trump, thank you. That's absolutely meaningless. I'm glad we brought you. Will he or will he not be able to work in the major crimes unit? Is he a crétin now? I want to know that.
He's not a cretin, and he is able to do work. If not in his previous leadership role, then as a line detective.
Now, nothing. Now we're just going to stand here. Yeah, just stand there. It's cool. No, now we discuss that. What the fuck did you do to our motor carriage? Why is it there, Harry? Yes, in the ocean, under the sea, our work vehicle with fish and clams and other sea shit. So refreshing. It just admits it. Thank you for your honesty. Thank you for destroying 45,000 real of police property. That's coming out of everyone's payslip. It doesn't matter. Your badge, Harry. Show me your badge.
In a rush to demonstrate your badge, your eager fingers can't sustain a grip on the smooth plastic, and the badge slips out of your hand.
Caught it.
Not today, badge. You got it all right. You're showing it to him, victorious. They're seeing the badge.
And your gun?
As if having your badge and gun are natural states, not achievements.
Phew, he has it. And he didn't drop it. You're drunk like a bum, Harry. Put that thing away before you kill someone. I don't buy it. Why do you smell like a corpse then, huh?
He's wounded. It's been a long week, and he's handled an actual corpse.
A bit of a week? You're drunk, and you let the suspect escape, a certain class here, because you were too drunk to assess a flight risk.
We've read the reports, Harry. Lieutenant Kitsuhagi's. We know.
Oh well, if she was nice. I'm not even gonna get into the other suspect, who also escaped. Yeah, Ruby's something, or the fact that you're Everard Claire's little peony now, doing I don't know what for him. That's small-time stuff, that's nothing. That's a humorous anecdote. Compared to the 7 people who were gunned down, the streets are literally red with blood, Harry. It was fucking mass murder.
He did everything he could. We did everything we could. The company hired unvetted mercenaries. Lieutenant Dubois got between them and the locals. He did so at considerable risk to his own life. He was shot and survived only because of his armor. We stopped an execution, not a negotiation. The loss of life was minimal compared to what it could have been. Detective, it's better if I do that.
It's so much better if he does this. 1,000,000 times better.
Thank you for the input, Lieutenant Kitsuragi. I didn't mean to suggest you didn't handle the situation.
He thinks of apologizing, but decides against it.
You spent the week with him on this case. What is your take?
case?
Un lieutenant Geoffretor Dubois.
Well, the drinking, the gun losing, also losing the badge. That's all true. Although he has not been drinking on the job this week.
See?
1 week.
Then there's the boring cop issue. Despite all the obvious and almost grotesque mannerisms and sartorial choices, he still insists he isn't characteristic enough. It's worrying, especially considering his political views. Detective Dubois is, as you may know, a Mazovian socio-economist. He wants to liquidate the ruling class, which, again, for a police officer, is a little odd.
You should yell something. Yes, let's let the big boys talk.
And then there's the motor carriage in the sea, something I was not present for. But despite all this, he is a great detective, one of the best I've seen, in fact. He can talk human beings into telling him everything, and he doesn't stop. In all the time I've spent with him, he has not once stopped pursuing leads, however far-fetched and tangential. He is tireless, madly driven. And he solved it, near perfectly. In 1 week we have a confession, a murder weapon, and the perpetrator. Locked on the island right now, awaiting transportation. He apprehended a revolutionary brigade who stayed hidden for 50 years, ever since the revolution, who's probably committed other murders over those years. Oh, and he also discovered a new species.
Okay. That line right there may be the funniest line in the whole game.
New species.
A colossal stick insect. It was on the island, camouflaged as the reeds. It unfolded from the reeds. I think we may be dealing with the Insulindian phasmid.
He takes out the photo and shows it to the officers across the yard. Rain comes down. He covers the glossy photo of the phasmid with his hand.
Oh, that is really, really funny.
You hear gasps beneath the howling of the wind.
As you can see, it's about 3 meters tall. In fact, we think it may be the largest land invertebrate ever discovered.
Fucking hell is that? Is this somehow connected to the case?
Detective? The old man was not aware of the phasmid's presence. Exhibiting a strange, atypical dementia, he fell into a stupor after its appearance. He became near catatonic.
So it is connected.
I must say, this is absolutely extraordinary. I don't even have words for it.
Oh, that's so
Yes.
great.
It really does make it hard to fire the drunk.
This is a very, very sad man who has just seen something that's made him forget his sadness. Now you make your case. Now is the time. Now or never.
Lilianovich, the revolutionary matronym. The custom started in Grad, where they have patronyms, Krasovich, Lasovich, etc. The revolutionaries saw this as a chauvinist atavism, so they used matronyms, derived from the mother's name instead. This man's mother was Lilian, his Lilian's son, Lilianovich. The custom was overturned after the revolution failed, but not before it made it to Revachol.
So, it is what a soldier of the ICM would be called.
Thank you, Trout. Thank you for that piece of cultural theory. You said you have a motive?
Of course, excuse me, I just thought it was noteworthy.
He wasn't quite sure about the straggler before he heard this detail. It must have convinced him.
And it worked?
Yes, until we stopped it. He saw the mercenary as an ennemi combattant. There's plenty for prosecution to pick from, as far as motive is concerned. Also, we have ballistics from the gun, matching the bullet found in the dead mercenary's head. And 2 officers on the scene that Mr. Dross confessed to.
It's a clean win.
Oh, it's way more than that.
Get over yourself. You're not a perfectionist. You're a cop, and you did a good job. With a lot of help from Lieutenant Kitsuragi. And none of this can hide the smell of booze on the wind.
God damn it. Doesn't it ever leave? It is there, like in your bones or something. It will pass in time.
This is a conversation for when we are no longer out in the open. In Martinez, where Evrard and Edgar Clare have ears everywhere.
And eyes, too. Your return from the island must not have gone unnoticed.
Understood, of course.
But a case against Everard would be big.
I would prefer not to partake in anything union-related, for political neutrality.
This has to be good stuff for him to backpedal out of it at first mention.
Yes, yes. Fallen through a gap in the boardwalk. Drunk.
The body was transported to Precinct 41, our morgue. I had Tilbrook and Mullins take care of funeral arrangements and family stuff.
You're not the only cop in the world, Harry. This all comes back to us.
Still, good work with the missing person, Detective.
It's still a point for you. No denying it.
I don't want to, but you discovered a new species and solved the murder. So I have to. Jude?
Anything that ends the trial is okay with me.
Agreed. The public relations potential of this is too valuable to let go.
Okay. We have vehicles in the square, and the perpetrator needs to be taken into custody. Let's go.
The man looks westward, impatiently, jingling his car keys in his pocket.
Who is Lena? Well, good luck finding her once we get back.
She and her husband were conducting the search for the Phasmid. It's their discovery, in part. I'm sure we'll find them. They should know as soon as possible. It would do you good to deliver some positive news for a change. Well, first I will go back to my station and write the most detailed report anyone has ever seen. It will have to be good to cover all these. Then I will have a serious talk with my captain. Detective, we just stopped a small-scale war. Something is happening to Revachol. I don't know what yet, but it's going to be a hard spring for the RCM. We need to get ready, infiltrate, investigate.
Le retour.
Talk to Captain Price? I'd rather not ruffle the feathers of 2 captains with my doom-mongering. Work with Price? I'm flattered, but I don't know if I...
Would fit him. And crazy enough. Can take the stress. He doesn't know how to finish the sentence. This truly came as a surprise to him. Not a bad one, but he's at a loss.
Flattered? You're Lieutenant Kitsuragi. We would be flattered if you even considered.
I would have to tie things up in GRIH first. But, I mean, whatever is coming, Jamrock will be more central to it than the harbor.
And we also have a huge caseload, Lieutenant. Piles that we need to get back to. Mountains, even.
I do like the sound of that.
He's really considering it.
He is my Watson, right? Yeah, I realized that after I left. I never talked to him. I kind of regret not going back and talking to the crazy people at the church too.
It's not a mystery. Some chick fucked you over. Also, you were drunk. Yeah, Dora Ingelund, I think.
Not Dora Dubois.
No one is married anymore. This is Revachol. God, I don't know. 6 years ago? She was way before my time.
6 years and you haven't gotten over it. What the hell is wrong with you?
No, it was 6. Like ancient. It's an old man thing. 2 old years equals 1 normal year. That and Dora Ingelund really tore you a new one. A big one. Incredibly bangable. She was incredibly fuckable. A beautiful bourgeois woman. Wayfish. Like a Welkin, basically.
Snow Welkin. Blonde Welkin.
I've only seen a picture. But it's obvious you formed a real spiritual connection with how pretty she was. One you never recuperated from.
Look, the sun is about to go down. It's time to go home.
I think she taught in the Académie des Arts, east of the river. Way east. Hard to say which came first. The middle-class chick or the drink. Egg and the chicken kind of thing. My point is, you need to see a psychiatrist about this shit. Not a psychologist. Several degrees harder. Is there something harder than a psychiatrist? A forensic psychiatrist? Go talk to that.
In other words, he's heard enough about this.
Good.
Fuck it. Let's go. Tron brought his motor carriage. It's a 20-minute drive to Jamrock.
You close your eyes and hear the dogs bark. A lone woman sits by a factory window, dreaming of meteorite strikes. On Rue de Saint-Jérôme, a square bullet slides into a square-shaped chamber. In Old South, a man without eyelids smiles. Spring has come. It's time. Dawson? Yes. McLean? Yes. Heidelstein? No. Vicmaire? Yes. Dubois? Of course. Really? Nick Gottlieb looks up from the list. I hear he's unstable. You say that like it's a bad thing. Captain Potomny Price gestures with a ballpoint pen. It's dim in his office, and the curtains are drawn. Harry's our man. He'll pull through. When he does, he'll side with the people. Understood. Gottlieb returns to the list. Minnow? Of course.
Wonderful. Then can we please just go back to Jamrock now?
This is really interesting. It also makes me wonder if the sequel will be about the bullet, the square-shaped bullet, because I remember when I read the case, like his thought about it was like, someday I'll solve that. It's interesting that they mention it again at the end. Yeah, I would think that's probably the most likely thing, but it would be interesting if they just attempted like a direct sequel. I'm here for it no matter what, as long as the writing's the same, and it was a cool game. We got credits. Well, tell you what, I'm taking the rest of the week off. And I'll be starting Monday on something else. I've been thinking about it, whether or not I'm going to play just exclusively Yakuza 0, or if I was even thinking about the Outer Worlds maybe, because that's not very long, and it has a lot of like dialogue options the same way. But yeah, just come back Monday and see what we're playing, and I really, really appreciate you stopping by and watching the game with me. Yeah, I will look into that too. I've got Game Pass. I think it's on there. yeah, I'll look into Pathologic too and see if it's up my alley. But until then, thanks for stopping by, and you have a good rest of the night. Bye.